We all share that one fantasy. Pay off all that credit card debt and go to bed snug between the covers of financial security. Something like that, right? Well, the lottery is one way that millions of Americans hope their bank balance struggles can be eased. After all, something like $1.5 billion can go a long way. But what are we paying for when we buy those tickets? Well, states get a percentage of the lotto sales, which they often promise to give to chronically underfunded schools, which sounds like good news, but the reality isn't as great as that promise. Lotteries are a painless way for politicians to raise money for the government. You buy a lotto ticket, and the money goes toward public education. No one gets mad about raising taxes, and the school gets money, or at least that's how it's supposed to work. But in a lot of states, lottery tickets aren't really helping schools that much. Take California, for example, where lottery revenue is less than 2% of education spending. The state has a $76 billion education budget, and only about $1.4 billion of that is from the lottery. There's also North Carolina, where the lottery brings in more than $500 million a year. But that doesn't mean there's more money for schools. Since the lottery started 10 years ago, North Carolina actually spends less on education than it did before. And then there's the issue of who's buying the tickets. Americans spent a whopping $70 billion on lotteries in 2014. That's more than we spent on sports tickets, books, video games, movies, and music combined. Advertisements for state lotteries promise that winning the lottery can help you achieve your dreams, things like paying for college, buying a home, or getting out of that job. But that promise plays into financial insecurities. So while upper-income Americans tend to play the lottery for fun when the jackpot gets really big, people who are lower income play lottery tickets more often as a kind of investment in their future. In South Carolina, for instance, 54% of lottery players earned less than $40,000 a year. This, in effect, makes lotteries a regressive tax because it's revenue for the state that sucks up a disproportionate amount of low-income people's salaries. And spending that money on lotto tickets has a different financial effect on someone making $40,000 a year versus someone who's making $75,000 a year. And that brings us back to how state governments sell the lottery. They know that the hope of financial stability is a powerful incentive to play. So the lottery is a fun way to possibly win lots of cash, but it's also a tax on the country's most underprivileged that doesn't come close to delivering on the promise of better funded schools. But with so much money up for grabs, it doesn't hurt to buy a ticket. And remember, if you win, don't take the lump sum.